Welcome to Midnight Movie Talk, live from Los Angeles. Erick Weber in the host seat as we discuss a whole bunch of stuff. Man, we have a busy Tuesday night. We're going to start with my thoughts on Knock at the Cabin. I just got out of the screening moments ago. Now, there is a social media allowance, but there's not there's a review embargo until tomorrow morning, but we'll get around that in a way because, as we always do on these initial thoughts, we make sure that everyone is very clear about this. This is not a review. Let's do it. I got to tell you, I really like this film. Let's read my initial reaction coming out of the theater. Knock at the Cabin is M. Night Shyamalan's darkest, nastiest, unflinching film yet. One of his best directorial efforts from a tech standpoint, too, featuring strong cinematography. Mainstream audiences are going to have issues with its bleakness, but that's precisely why I totally dug it. That is everything you need to know about Knock at the Cabin in 280 characters. Perfect. Because when you look at this film, the fear I had going into this was, would M. Night Shyamalan pull punches? Would Universal make M. Night pull punches? Now, I have not read the short story that this is based on, but the version of the tale that I got tonight was dark and had legitimate stakes. And everything in it, I don't want to do spoilers. I'm just going to say it happens, which is so important, right? When you're doing a film like this, how many times we get to something that looks like it's X and at the end, no, it's Y, and you just go, are you kidding me, right? This has heavy Mist vibes. Now, remember The Mist, right? The film adaptation. What Frank did with that film, the end, now that is how you do dark, right? If you just would have held on for like another minute, you didn't have to do what you did. Without giving it away, if you haven't watched The Mist, you need to watch The Mist. Oh my God. That is just the biggest gut punch of a finish ever in film, I would argue. This isn't quite that, but it also doesn't lay off and say, we don't have things that actually happen that are really bad. Now, the other thing that I really like about this film is the direction and the tech, as I mentioned in the reaction tweet, as you see here. The cinematography for a film that is in one location, right? It's in the cabin and the woods surrounding the cabin. You would possibly have a film that just feels very claustrophobic and doesn't have any freshness to it. You really want to have interesting angles, tight shots, things that really take you and draw you into the film. That is what you see here. I didn't see who did the cinematography on this, but I can tell you this. This film looks and moves about 500% better than Old. This film is light years stronger than Old. Like, it's not even a competition, okay? But my worry is for the mainstream audiences, not for you guys. You guys want to see a horror film? This is a horror film, okay? And the stakes are very real. And for that, it is a very high grade for me. Much higher than I expected to be. I think the trailer shows you a little too much, like all trailers do, but not the entire film. And what we get delivers the nastiness that you're looking for. That is why Knock at the Cabin worked for me. By the way, reminder for everybody, this is not a review. Let's go through social media and just see what other people are saying about this film. I click on the hashtag and let's see what we get. Let's roll down. Brett, redacted. Knock at the Cabin is M. Night Shyamalan's First Reformed. Yeah, I get what you're doing there, but First Reformed is totally inaccessible by the time we get to, right, the finale of that film. This is not that. This film is very accessible, okay? At least from a storytelling perspective. Again, what happens actually happens, which matters to really a cinema score for me on this will probably be on the mid side because you guys know why. Okay, I don't need to tell you why. It's not going to be low, but it's also not going to be super high because the stakes are real. Let's see what else we have here. Perfectly crafted, tight little banger of a film. Another win for Bautista, 100%. Dave Bautista is so perfectly grounded in this film. We talk about that so often here on Midnight Movie Talk. One of the things I really look for in an actor's performance is how grounded and almost still the performance is. Now, in a comedy, you're obviously going to push that, but you still want to have that grounding that allows you to take the comedy places that you buy into it more than if someone's just over the top, zany, out of control, right? Think like something like Dane Cook. Oh, God. I can't believe I just said that. We have here with Dave Bautista somebody who is doing very little, but yet doing so much. And that is a testament to his growth as an actor. I think you're looking at here, after watching Knock at the Cabin, you could be very soon looking at a Dave Bautista nomination for Best Actor, Supporting Actor, something like that in the near future. I mean, this is really strong. And not just him. It's everybody here that is really on top of it. We go back and we talk about Old. We talk about a film that had really, subpar performances, to put it nicely. But when you look at everybody here, and there's really, 7 actors in play. You have Bautista, you have the couple, Jonathan Goff, Ben Aldridge, both of them very good. You have Nikki Amarka Bird. She's good as one of the 4 who show up at the cabin. Rupert Grint, you guys know him from Harry Potter. Solid. And then Abby is the other girl. And then you have this young actress, Kristen Cui. Very good too. Everybody here is exactly how you want them to be in a grounded horror film. If you have a performance that's off, and someone is going too far with what they're doing here, because this film does obviously involve an apocalyptic nature. So you could have someone who goes completely off the rails and really brings the film down. That does not happen. So everybody here is on top of their game. So that's another win here. Let's go back and look at some other things here. Let's continue on that one from Beyond Fest. It's a bigger win for M. Night, who continues to fund his movies, manage costs, and play to his strengths. See it in the theater this weekend. This is 100% true. Good review here from Beyond Fest. Perfectly crafted, tight little banger. It's 140. That's the other thing. And the other real positive here of this film is that it gets into its story quickly. There is very little wasted motion when you come out of, by the way, throwback Universal logo to kick things off, which is always going to be a nice touch. I go back to Argo. Remember the old Warner Brothers logo? Things like that just set the mood. And I think that was a smart choice here too. But then we roll right into it, and it's not, minutes in that Bautista is rolling through the forest. This is not a spoiler, and also this is not a review. But it's good to see storytelling that gets right into it versus waste your time and, gets a runtime of 2 hours. This is 140. It's the way it needs to be. Candace Frederick says, I look at to be that critic again about Knock at the Cabin. I guess she didn't like it as much. I'm a little surprised. Anyone who doesn't like this film, I want to hear exactly why, because I don't see it, right? There's times that I understand where I see somebody who liked and disliked. I really never will understand how someone thinks The Whale is a good film, ever in a million years. But I do, in a weird way, get how someone might come out of Babylon and say, this is, decent film, just because there's a couple of good scenes. But this case, I really think this is a very strong M. Night Shyamalan film. And I expect it to here we go. Anna Klassen. Who's Anna? I don't know. She writes for, she works at Netflix. It's fantastic. Both an edge-of-your-seat suspenseful thriller and a moving family drama. A spectacular addition to the genre. See it, leave your expectations of M. Night at the door. I 100%. I mean, listen, and then I show up when you hit that. So there's not a whole lot of reviews out there, which is kind of weird. It feels like this film is kind of under the radar. It almost feels like, let's pull up mine again just one more time so we have it. When we look at this film, you're looking at a film that I do believe that they're kind of just, Universal's kind of not really pushing as hard as I expected them to push. Now, I still think they're giving it some. They're not doing a missing, like Sony just threw that movie out there with no promotion whatsoever. But you aren't looking at, great example is I drive down Sunset every day, right, on the way to the gym. So I go right by the Universal building on Sunset, right at La Cienega. They have the building with the gigantic billboard of whatever they're pushing. They have Cocaine Bear up right now, not Knock at the Cabin, Cocaine Bear. So they're already thinking ahead. I wonder if they know that this film is maybe not going to hit the way that we saw with some of his older things, like you go back to The Visit. This is a darker film. I mean, this is nihilistic in a way, almost very close. But that's not the kind of film that a lot of moviegoers like. They like safe things. And when I go back and we talk about The Mist, right? The Mist is anything but safe. The Mist, the ending, is, you talk about pulling no punches. You talk about ripping your heart out. That film does that. Let's get into the comments here on this Tuesday night. We have a whole bunch to talk about. We're going to 80 to Brady next. 80 for Brady's up next. My unvarnished thoughts on that. But before we get to that, and James Gunn's DCU, and also Andrea Riseborough and the Oscars, we have so much to discuss tonight. To your comments here about our top story, not a review, Knock on the Cabin. Better than old, no question, Kasuma. I mean, it's not even a contest. Zero contest whatsoever. Joshua, good evening to you. Thank you for watching MMT as always. Bautista at the center. He grounds the film. He is the film. He is the number one reason this film works, but it also goes to M. Night Shyamalan's direction. It's Bautista performance, everybody's performance, but Bautista in particular, and then you have the direction of M. Night Shyamalan that I think is one of his best directorial efforts. No question. Chris Gore sat next to me, and I'm pretty sure he liked the film as much as me. Axel, oh God. No, we are not doing an Axel Braun porn version of Knocking Boots at the Cabin. X is a fantastic movie. You guys know how much I love that. I love X. One of my favorite movies of last year. Wasim, I'm so hyped for the film. Listen, you guys know so often people accuse me of hating everything. Right? That's the easy thing. Let's gaslight. Let's throw it out there that Eric hates everything. Then you go, wait, hold on. What films do you want to start with that I liked? Tonight, we are doing Knock at the Cabin. In moments, 80 for Brady. You're going to be shocked what I have to say in a moment about that. So don't tell me that I'm a hater. And also don't tell me, as someone did, came in the comments on YouTube here like a week ago, and I don't know where the comment went. I wish I had it up right now. Basically, you're hating on things because you want to be a contrarian. Okay. You don't know who I am. You clearly have no idea, because that's the last thing I've ever done. Every film I come out of that I love or hate, it's because I feel legitimately that way. There's no other way to do it, right? I mean, there is. You're a shill, right? But we're not shills. So this film you should be excited for, especially if you like The Mist. If you like that dark, really nasty film, without it going too far, I want to make sure that you guys understand this is not Terrifier 2, okay? This is not even The Mist, but it has Mist vibes, and it has real stakes. Without giving you all this, that's just what is the truth about this film. The Mist is the greatest middle finger to audience of all time. Ken Murray, perfectly put. But yet, that's what makes the film better than the Stephen King version, right? They rewrote that. Darabont rewrote that to have what happens in The Mist, the movie version, and King was like, holy shit, that's even better. Now that is what I want to see. I am all for a film that is down on the ending. I go back to Up in the Air, a film that I always think about. One of the reasons Up in the Air works is the fact that Clooney doesn't get away with the girl, right? She's married. That's the beauty of Up in the Air, is that it ends with him going back in the air on the road without the girl that you thought he was going to get away with. We see in every film, but not in Up in the Air. That's what I want to see. I want to see a film that absolutely doesn't give you what you expect. Go back to La La Land. Why does La La Land work so well? Because of the ending. Because Emma does not end up with Ryan. That's why La La Land is great. if they end up together, the film is not nearly as strong. That's why I like it when I see a film that doesn't end up where you expect it to be and where you would expect a studio to put it. Now, I've not read the original Knock in the Cabin, but I think it's called Knock in the Cabin, the adaptation. This one is obviously the adaptation of the short story. But I really like what Shyamalan did here. And he is obviously basing this. It is based on another story. It is a positive review, even though it's not a review. Not a review. I'm really looking forward to seeing this. My local theater are going to finally screen The Whale. Oh, no. Don't do that. Alex, do not do it. Do not go to see The Whale. Please, you guys, don't do this. Gore, a positive review. Can you believe it? Fresh out of the theater reviews. That's what we do here, but it's not, one more time, everybody, so you know, this is not a review of Knock at the Cabin. But look there is sort of a review, but it's not a review. But that, guys, here's the thing. When I come out and I put these tweets out, it's perfect for what we do here because that is everything you need to know about the film. Everything you need to know about Knock at the Cabin is sitting right in front of you in a tweet. Now, I'm glad you're here with me and I can explain it a little bit more in depth. But it's dark, it's nasty, it's unflinching, it's got great cinematography, and it's bleak as hell. That's what you need to know. That is why this film is a serious recommend for me. I really liked it. Okay, before we get into more comments, we are rolling into topic number 2. I want to mention what else is coming up here. In a moment, 80 for Brady. Then we're going to talk about James Gunn, DCU. And you guys are going to help me here because I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've told you a million times. MCU, DCU, I like. I am not like religious canon stuff here. I have an idea of what's happening here, but I am not, that hardcore fanboy. So I'm going to tell you my thoughts on it overall. And then if you want to get into the weeds, that's your deal. We can do that. That'll come into your comments. And then we also have to talk about Andrea Riseborough and the Academy not taking away. They're not going to rescind her nomination, but they are concerned about the campaigning strategy for her. Here comes 80 for Brady. So I saw 80 for Brady on Saturday. I held my thoughts. Gore sat in the same theater. It was packed. I mean, first of all, 80 for Brady on a Saturday, a special advanced screening that Paramount put in theaters last Saturday. I'm like, okay, there's like barely 5 seats in here that are empty. That's a good sign for this film going into this weekend. The other good sign for this film, my thoughts in a moment. Look at A Man Called Otto. Over 50 million right now. That's the same general audience that will be going to see 80 for Brady. They're ready. They will pounce. It's the perfect timing. There's no major football game this weekend. So what are you going to do if you like football? Let's go see 80 for Brady, where you have the 4 actresses that we grew up with and are classic, and we know them. We know their faces. We feel comfortable with them. And when you listen, this is the typical road trip movie that we see. We've seen this movie 10 billion times. But when you look at 80 for Brady, the reason why I can't believe I'm saying this, I need to pause and really think about what I'm going to say. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it because it's comfort food cinema. It's Sally Field, Jane Fonda, Rita Moreno, and Lily Tomlin going to the Super Bowl. 4 octogenarians, and 1 70-year-old. 3 octogenarians and 1 70-year-old. And Field makes certain to mention that. And there they go. There's the trailer. You guys know the movie. You've seen it in so many different iterations. But what makes it work is, first of all, do you like football? Yes, I do. If you do, you're going to like the film. Do you like these actresses? Is it nice to see them back together and going on this goofy road trip with Guy Fieri multiple times in the film as they touch down in Houston and hang out at parties and do gummy drugs? I mean, it's just dumb as hell. But I didn't hate it. Okay, guys. Isn't that the best ringing endorsement here tonight? I didn't hate the film. Because there are things like Jane Fonda saying, thank God, I spent so much money on my face. Which we're all thinking, right? Because Jane Fonda, and you look at that face, and you go, whoa, what happened? Like, what the work that's been done. But in the movie, they actually call attention to that, and I give credit to Jane and the writers for doing that. Things like that make it brain dead fun, as you see in front of you. I mean, nothing's going to happen in this film that you are shocked at, that will make you think beyond 1 second after the credits. Nothing. But you'll leave with a general, I didn't hate myself during this hour and 35, thank God it's short, movie. So a thumbs up again for 80 for Brady. That's 2 this week for the guy who hates every movie. I could have come on here and savage 80 for Brady, but for what it is, it works. Enough. That's all. Don't make me say another word about 80 for Brady. Any questions? Hit me with those. What did I think of Sally Field's strap-on? That was a good joke. She has a strap-on fanny pack, and they mention it multiple times that she has a strap-on. Sort of. I do like Sally Field. I told you guys, Gore asked me this on Sunday night. Which of these 4 ladies, if you had to, it would be Sally Field. Okay? She's just cute. She has that pretty cute thing going. I always like that. So that's it for 80 for Brady. I can't talk anymore about it. Any other comments, you guys? I just can't talk about 80 for Brady anymore. That's it. But it's not terrible. James Gunn's DC unveiled. Let's go to the article from... We start with, I think the most interesting thing I read here was THR's coverage of it. Because what they do is they're talking about the industry. And that's what I love. That's what this channel loves to do. Talk about the movie business more than anything, right? It is reviews, but it's also box office and it's behind the scenes stuff. And right off the bat, look here. In the 3 months he's been running DC Studios with Peter Safran, writer-director James Gunn has been unusually, and some would say refreshingly, candid for a Hollywood studio executive, whose propensity to speak his mind was again on full display when he and his partner Safran briefed reporters on their slate. So here he is, and this is what Gunn, for better or worse, Gunn has a loud mouth, and that's good. I think that's great. But when you look at what he did here, he says things like they effed up, said they dicked around with Henry Cavill. The studio dicked him around, which is 100% true. He's saying what we do here on MMT, the truth. He just comes out and says it. It's just unusual to hear a studio boss speak so openly. But that's what people want these days. That's what they want. Nobody wants somebody who's a shill. Well, I shouldn't say. I mean, look at the Soups kid. Total shill. Yet the dude has hundreds of thousands of views. Makes no sense to me. I would never. You don't know. You could explain that to me for the next week, and I would never understand how that kid is anything. But here we are. But that's the beauty of Gunn and what we do here on MMT. It is open. Just pull out the gun and fire. So here's what we have. When you look at what's coming up, they have the Superman spinoff. Well, it's the new version of Superman, which will be, apparently, from what I can tell, the director of this, it will be heavy on themes of race. Okay, that we can see when you look at what the Superman thing is here. Let's pull it up on the Variety article. So on the Variety article, it actually gets into each thing. So the Superman film is called Superman Legacy, right? Focuses on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. But the writer of this has written several books written by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And if you look at Ta-Nehisi Coates and what he's done, a lot of what he does. Oh, it's a separate movie. Okay, this is a separate movie. My bad. Okay, there's also that one too. That one will be the one that is, I think, heavier dealing with race. This one here, he says, is the one that they're making is going to be that Superman for everybody, a 4-quadrant film. I love when he talks like that. That's what we talk about here. A 4-quad film that should speak to everyone in the world. Well, in that's Superman, right? And the separate movie is going to be over there. So it sounds like they're still going to do this, like they have with the Joker. We're going to try to fasten all of this to the DCU, but we're also going to do things like Joker. We're also going to do things that are not totally connected. They're disconnected. The Authority. Legacy is going to go to Authority. It's an ensemble movie about superhumans who have a less than idealistic approach to saving the world. Well, that sounds a lot like The Boys, doesn't it? The Boys is hugely popular, so that would be a smart move. The Brave and the Bold. The DCU's version of Batman. Who's going to play that? Because you've got Robert Pattinson in Matt Reeves's film, so they have to recast that again. Apparently, it'd be again. Who's a good Batman? I saw him at the gym a few weeks ago. Is Taron Egerton? I mean, if he's not Wolverine, Taron Egerton would be good. He's got the physique. He's just like he's a bowling ball. He's not the tallest guy, but he's just thick. He'd look good in a suit. Supergirl. We'll see how that works out. Swamp Thing, I've heard. Now that, if it's a horror film, I'm excited to talk about because that could be cool. Swamp Thing, I remember when I was a kid, they had the Adrienne Barbeau version. Well, I mean, that was like a film that I wanted to see. I remember as a kid, I was young, and I was like, I want to see the Swamp Thing movie. It looks cool as hell. I love creature features. Who doesn't? Your thoughts on the DCU? Give it to me. But what I love the most about James Gunn is the fact that he just pulls it out and goes, boom. There's no thinking. He just goes and says what's on his mind, which is exactly what we do here. It's Erick, you're so mean. Whatever, man. You can say Gunn is mean. I would rather have someone that tells you the truth than uncomfortable. Uncomfortable truths will always beat lies and shilling. Shilling sucks. Swamp Thing is the whole reason Gunn became a director and his writer is so perfect. Swamp Thing, if they turn into a horror film, I love it, and that's what the DCU needs to do. Do not try to be like Marvel, right? Be the R-rated Marvel. Go back and remember Swingers. Remember Vince Vaughn when he's having the conversation with Jon Favreau in the bar, and he's like, I don't want you to be like the PG-13 version of you. The one that everyone's really hoping gets the girl. I want you to be like the R-rated version of the guy you don't really know about. You're not sure. That's what DC needs to do. They need to be the R-rated version of the CBM universe for film. That's what has to happen. That is where they're going to succeed. Marvel already has that PG-13 thing, right? Beyond Deadpool, forget Deadpool. Everything else is PG-13. That said, I'm looking forward to Ant-Man 3, but DCU, they will succeed on Joker. They will succeed on Suicide Squad R. They want to make harder films that are not clean, that are not nice, that are like A Knock at the Cabin. I would love to see a DC property like that, a grimmer film, right? Joker, my God, Joker's so dark. And you guys, everyone says Joker is, whoever underestimates that film, you can say whatever, go ahead, but it makes you look really stupid because Joker, the miracle of Joker is that you have a film that is hard R that Warner Brothers said, let's do it. Todd Phillips, go for it. And now that you have that film at over $1 billion, the Joker 2 is going to go there. They are ready with that. And I think the more chances you take in life, the better you're going to be and the more appreciated you're going to be. If we came on here and spun a bunch of crap like Soups, everything's great, this is great, everything's fantastic. Boring as hell. Who wants to watch that crap? You want somebody who is going to, when they tell you something, such as Knock at the Cabin, such as I can't believe 80 for Brady. That at least I am not trying to fit into the parameters of what everyone else is, right? What does everyone else think about this? Because I want to make sure I'm with the group think. Let's be part of the hive mind. Screw the hive mind. I don't have any time for that. I want zero part of the hive mind. Zero. Like, get the hive mind as far away from me as possible. By the way, tonight's kit, Stoke City. This is one of my favorites because it is black and red. I love black and red, and it's black with the red on top. That is what I really like, by the way, with the patches. Are you kidding me? This is how we roll here. Anyone with the super chat, let's go to it. We are going to keep pushing forward here, probably about an hour or so. We have so many things to talk about. Your comments in a moment, but I do want to get to our second to last topic of the night, and that is going to be Andrea Riseborough into Leslie, right? She gets in for the Best Actress nomination. And the Academy was like, what happened here? We all were saying that, okay? Everybody here was saying, what is going on with this film that nobody was talking about? And don't tell me that people were talking about this film. Nobody. And okay, I cover awards. I know every film that is in contention. Nobody was talking about this film. That has to be stated. Now, let's go and bring up the latest. JT Mulner, I really respect JT. Follow him on Twitter. We discuss things all the time. And I just love the way he thinks. Let's look at what he has to say about the situation. I was never asked to support Andrea Riseborough. I was only asked to watch to Leslie to decide for myself. After I watched and saw she was Oscar worthy, it is a strong performance. I have not finished the film, but what I've seen, she is very good. Okay, I go back and I remember her from Mandy. That's what I remember Andrea Riseborough from. I was encouraged to help spread the word, not sure how this approach is more nefarious than dumping millions into print ads. I mean, the points are very valid here from JT. The Academy is freaked out because Andrea Riseborough got a nomination without the studio having to go and do millions of dollars in FYC promotion. Look at Paul Schrader. By the way, I've talked to Paul Schrader. Paul Schrader, you talk about a straight shooter. There is nobody that I've talked to in Hollywood more so than Paul Schrader. That guy, he'll just say whatever. I mean, I talked to him at 2 different events, and both times I'm like, holy shit, this guy is like a loose cannon, which I loved. She got my vote. Go ahead, investigate me. So here's what the Academy is saying. Film Updates did a very nice, this is really all you need to know. The Academy says it did discover social media and outreach campaigning tactics that cause concern. The tactics are being addressed with the responsible parties directly, but they are not going to rescind the nomination. They're just going to say, how the hell did this happen? This grassroots campaign that started about 2 weeks before this whole thing went down and we actually got the nomination. Social media and outreach tactics cause concern. Because the Academy, and you know who's bitching? The studios are bitching. The studios are all like Warner Brothers and Universal, A24, any studio that had someone in the mix for Best Actress. Orion, MGM with, of course, Danielle Deadwyler, is they missed out. So they're like, wait a second. We spent money on our campaign. We did all this work. You guys did nothing. This tiny studio out of nowhere gets a nomination. What happened? So the other studios are putting pressure on the Academy. Understandably, they're pissed. They want their actress in there, not Andrea Riseborough, from a studio that has no cash, no money. They spent next to $0 on FYC versus these other studios that spent millions, right? Between events, screenings, full page ads, screeners. I didn't get a screener of To Leslie. I've got screeners. Look behind me. I get screeners for virtually everything. Now, some are not on the wall like The Whale. There's no way in hell I'm ever putting The Whale up here. That is desecrating the wall. Never going to happen. But there was no To Leslie screener. So you start to say, how did this happen? It's logical. It makes sense, but it's not going to get rescinded. But I will say that there's no question it's weird. There's no other way to spin it. It's weird to see her in there. It was from day one. If you haven't seen my initial reaction to the Oscars, it is there from Oscar morning. Everything. It was a really strong hour. If you haven't watched that, go watch it. Everything is right there. Nothing's changed. But today we understand that she is not going to have that taken away. We knew it wasn't going to happen. That'd be too weird. They just are going to try to make sure that never happens again. However that is, they will do that. Come in with a super chat. You're in. Anyone else? Let's get to it. We are going to go. We're only halfway through. Let's keep rolling here because it is super early here on a Tuesday and we have a super stacked slate tonight. Hey, Eric, wait till you said this movie is good. I'm traumatized after Old. Old's terrible, David. Old is a bad film with really atrocious acting. So anything's going to be better than Old for me. But this film is not just better. It's like night and day, right? So Old is terrible. This is very strong. So we're not just going up like 1 or 2 levels. We're going up like 5 levels. We're going so far above Old that it's almost like these are the same filmmaker. This can't be the same filmmaker. This feels like M. Night, if he stays in this vein, what I just saw here tonight with Knock at the Cabin, we are going to get the true renaissance of this filmmaker who gave us Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, obviously, Signs, I love. And you have a lot of strong films, and then you have some crap like Old, right? You have films, The Happening. Oh, my God, The Happening. But if he stays here, I think the key is going to be making films that are grounded, that have stakes, that are dark. I want to see more of that. Those are the films that really work. Signs is kind of like that mix, right? It's not quite that dark. Sixth Sense obviously is, but Signs is that middle ground. The Village, I really think The Village is great. I love the twist in The Village. Like, I mean, adore. The Village. But I think when we stay, I want to see him stay in this vein, this R-rated, high stakes, grounded film. You showed me a lot here tonight, M. Night Shyamalan. I can now get really excited for your next film. After Old, I'm like, I don't know. Like, right, it's such a mixed bag with M. Night Shyamalan. And then you get to tonight and you say, okay, stock up. Can't wait for whatever's next. Let's hope the source material is as strong as what we had here, not written by M. Night Shyamalan. I think that there are, and we look at Babylon, when you look at Damien Chazelle is a director, the talent is there. Zero question about it. Damien Chazelle, the screenwriter, no. After Babylon, no way are you writing my next script. It's not happening. You can direct the film. So I think that M. Night, tonight, what I'm seeing is M. Night, give him the source material. Let him take that and do his adaptation and give us the version he wants. But I think that you have to start. Let someone else start with the idea, start with the film, write most of it, and then you finish it. And that's what I'd say for Damien Chazelle. Let someone else write your next film, and then you come in and you put the finishing touches on it and you direct the film. Same thing for M. Night Shyamalan. That's the difference between the two. Right? They're almost the exact same path that I want to see for their next film. Do not write it. You can direct it, but you cannot write the next film. The Village has one of the best twists in movie history. Wasim, I agree. It's fantastic. You don't see it coming, okay? Now, if someone ruined it for you, that's different. But for the rest of us who went to see that wide open in 99? Was it 2001? Whatever the year was. Late 90s, early 2000s. That twist, right? All of a sudden, you're like, wait, what? This Village is not in the past? If you haven't seen it, sorry, guys. It's forever. I'm allowed to do a spoiler. That's the beauty of it. Now, I won't say if it's exactly the same, but I liked Women Talking too. Not Women Talking 2, but Women Talking as well. And I mention it with The Village because if you've seen Women Talking, you know what I'm talking about. That's all I'm going to say. But that's why it's good, is that very reason. M. Night is hit and miss. Absolutely. High ceiling, very low floor. Alex, great put. So whenever I talk about NFL draft delight, right? Whenever you talk about a player and the prospect, and that's how I look at films, you're looking at, they talk about low floor, high ceiling, right? So you can take a player who's raw, who has a ton of athletic ability, and they have a very high ceiling. Or you could, and it also has a chance to absolutely be terrible and bomb out and be a bust, like a Jamarcus Russell. Or you could have somebody who is reliable, good, but not great, and it's just, you're going to get something that's decent, right? A decent player, but not a great player. And that's kind of, the filmmakers like that, I'm not interested in. I want to see a filmmaker that's going to take swings, and I really want to see M. Night obviously have more hits than misses, but he is very inconsistent. But this is one of his stronger films. Absolutely one of the stronger films. And anyone who says otherwise, I think I read a comment tonight, a tweet, and I almost pulled off the road and I almost crashed. It was Old is better than Knock at the Cabin. And I went, wow. Now that is something. That is certainly a take. Wasim, The Colony. You're right. It is The Colony. I apologize, everybody. It should be called The Colony, not Women Talking. Oh my God. I think if you read the book Cabin in the End of the World, you wouldn't have liked Knock as much. Okay, Ken, maybe that's true. But remember, Ken, and I've always said this, my job, and you know this, you're a critic as well. My job is not to compare the two things. My job is only to say, does the film work? I think that's the issue. Like, I go back to Hunger Games. I didn't read Hunger Games. I didn't read Harry Potter. So all I'm doing is basing the film off of what I'm watching. That's it. I have no other outside knowledge. I think the danger comes, like you said, if the book is better, if there's a better version, then of course I would be lower on it. But as someone who's not familiar with the source, I'm telling you the film works for me. Now, is there a better version? I'm sure there's almost always can be a better version of almost anything. But that's a danger when you get into that situation where you start to say, this isn't as good as this. But you're right. You can't get that out of your head. I mean, that's the problem. So I'm thankful I didn't. But I have a feeling most people haven't read it. So the review here tonight, I'm sorry, my bad, guys. I really apologize again for this. Not a review. The thoughts tonight about Knock at the Cabin is that it works, and I only am judging what I see on the screen, nothing else. So that, and same with Women Talking. Didn't read Women Talking, the book, which should have been called The Colony. But when you haven't read the original version of it, then you have nothing to base it on, and it's a different way of evaluating. But I think it's the best way because I think most people have not read the book, right? But you're probably right. I don't doubt that, Ken, one bit. That there's probably a better version, probably something other that would be there. Alan Ng, did Riseborough hire Pia Zadora's husband? She had a really strong PR grassroots campaign with a lot of celebrities. It started with one of the celebrities who was like behind the scenes and started to say, "Hey guys, can you watch this film? Can you do this?" It's kind of, think about it this way. It's a small club, right? Hollywood's a very tight-knit community. So if you start making calls to friends, then they call their friends. That's what happened here with Andrea Riseborough into Leslie. They started calling their friends, and saying, "Hey, here's what it is." So at that point, I mean, can you fault them for at least trying and obviously making it work? But the studios are not happy about it, right? The thing about M. Night Shyamalan is that he can legit have a soul for his movies and make special films. And he goes out and makes trauma films that nobody remembers. No. Yes, 100%. We just said that, the Wild Swings. But I'm telling you tonight that Knock at the Cabin is stronger than Old. It's one of his strongest films. There's no question in my mind that it's a strong M. Night Shyamalan. It is a plus. I recommend this film. You need to see it in a theater. I mean, I'm a strong on it. I'm an 8.5 out of 10, even though this is not a review. Again, Universal, not a review, because the embargo's tomorrow morning. But when you come on here, I'll be honest with you guys, and the straight truth, studios are going to be more lenient with these kind of things when you're positive. It's just the reality. But I haven't broken down like all the stuff in the review. But do you really want that is the other thing. No, you just want to know, is this film worth your cash? If you have A-list, by the way, you need to get A-list. If you don't have A-list, if you don't have an AMC near you, I pity you, because Regals are starting to close, a lot of them. But if you have AMC near you, you need to get A-list so that it doesn't matter if the movie's good or bad. But for those of you who are going to pay cash to go see a film this weekend and you want to know, should I go see Knock at the Cabin? Do you want a dark, stakes-heavy, grounded film, one of M. Night Shyamalan's better films? Yes, then you go see Knock at the Cabin. Do you want to have a fluffy, stupid road trip film we've seen a million times, but yet not hate yourself after watching 80 for Brady? Yes, then go see that. That's 2 films this weekend. The guy who hates everything just recommended 80 for Brady and M. Night Shyamalan Knock at the Cabin. So, sorry. Streaming found dead at the cabin. It's over. Okay, it's over. It's over. Let's bring this up again. I talked about it the other night, and I think it still is something we need to discuss. Are Netflix movies real movies? If you missed the first part of this on Sunday night, let's do it again. But let's really discuss this. When we look at Netflix, when you are giving me a film that is only available on your streaming service, that is not a film. I don't care if it is a film, it's not a film. And you know what I'm saying. A film is shown in a theater. A film has distribution. A film is not at home in front of your television. I don't care if we want to try to change what a film is. I don't care if Netflix for sure wants to change that. We are not going to do that. We're not going to let them do that. And that's why I say we take a stand and say, screw you, Netflix. If you're not going to have theatrical, we're not going to pay attention to you. Because I told you guys I'm not going to discuss Netflix films until they have a theatrical component. I said that months ago now. And I'm bringing it back up here because we need to make it a bigger groundswell, grassroots effort to say, Netflix, we're not going to take you seriously until you put your films in theaters. And until you do, we don't care what you have. I don't care if you have David Fincher. We don't care if you have whoever the hell else they have this upcoming year. Let's imagine that they had Scorsese with his next, right? We had The Irishman. I don't care what filmmaker you have, Bong, Tarantino. If you are not going to give me theatrical, we're not going to talk about your film. The only way that we can get Netflix to turn it around is if everybody buys into that. We aren't going to discuss your films unless you put it in theaters. And you know who that starts with? Journalists. But you know what the journalists want? They want to take trips to New York and trips to LA because it's all expenses paid. We're going to put you up in a 5-star hotel. You're going to eat dinner with the director. We're going to give you Uber rides around town, and we'll give you per diem for food. You're going to love your trip, and then you're going to come home and you're going to talk to all your friends in Podunk, Illinois, and you're going to say, look where I was this weekend. You're buying votes. Netflix needs to be stopped. And I'm here to be the leader of this group. We will start a grassroots campaign to bring Netflix down from a theatrical standpoint until they decide to put their films in theaters. We are done with Netflix. If you're with me, give me a like. Give me a comment. Because I need, if we do this, then we will have succeeded and we will take down the behemoth. The little man will take down big old scary Netflix. But you have to say, we're not going to talk about Netflix movies. In fact, I'm going to start a hashtag. Help me out with that. What's it going to be? No Netflix for me. That's kind of lame. Help me out. No Netflix, no way. No Netflix until theatrical. That's boring. I need something better. Give me something. Oh, Wasim, listen. Wasim, my Netflix privileges are over. In fact, Ken even said on the last stream, Murray said, you might have to get someone else to have you sign up for Netflix. I do not have an account. I don't think they give me one. I don't care. I don't like how Netflix is doing business. I don't like how they run their studio. I don't like how they let directors do whatever they want. I don't like the fact, number one, that they don't have theatrical, that they don't show their films at AMC, at Regal, at Cinemark, at the major chains. They only show them at smaller theaters in little things. They don't even talk about box office. They didn't even release box office numbers. Grow up, Netflix. Put your movies in theaters, and then we'll talk about them again. Nutflex. Nix the Netflix. CD Stein. I think we're on to something. Nix Netflix. Or just nix Netflix. Tomorrow I will start it. Your job, guys, is to retweet it. And it'll be nix Netflix, and then it'll be until they get theatrical. Okay? That's all it'll say. Your job is to make it go wild. Because we are going to make this happen. We are absolutely going to... By the way, I do love Ozark. That's not a movie, though, Wasim. Or Gone Girl. Not a movie. That is a series. Not... Netflix is not cinema. I like it. That's another option. Netflix is not flicks. Ken, I like it. We have a lot of good things. No theatrical, no show. John, good. Chris, like, yes, we can do this. We can make this happen, and you guys have to make it happen. We can start this, and we can bring them to their knees. We can bring Netflix to their knees and make them show their movies at AMC or Regal, obviously both, and any other chain. We have to make it happen. Let's make it happen so that by the time we get to next award season, they have to put The Killer in theaters. They have to put all their other films. I haven't looked at what else they have coming out this year. All I care about is Fincher. Give me theatrical or give me nothing, Netflix. That's what we need to do. You guys have to join. Netflix is not flicks. It's not cinema. It's 100% not cinema. So, guys, let's make it happen. Another reason Netflix sucks, they feed egos of directors. I said it. This is how it works with Netflix. You have a script. You're a director that people know. This is Netflix's head, Scott, a film. It's the best film I've ever seen. This is the best script. I can't even believe. This is, when I look at scripts, this is, I wouldn't change a thing. Everything about this is perfect, and you are the most talented director. We would love to have you work with us. We don't have a single note for you because you walk on water, and we're going to give you whatever you want for your film. That is not being a studio head. Being a studio head is saying, no. Damien Chazelle, Babylon, no. No chance. Go somewhere else with that shit script. Go. Get across the street. Get out of here. Come back when there's something else. Right? Honestly, like that. Like James Gunn. Do you think James Gunn would be perfect if Damien Chazelle had brought Babylon to James Gunn, right? Let's imagine James Gunn's the head of Warner Brothers, okay? And Chazelle brought him the Babylon script. James Gunn, knowing the straight shooter that he is, he'd say, Damien, this is shit. This film sucks. And there's no way in hell we're making this. But I love Whiplash. La La Land's very, very strong. And Family Guy, First Man, is well directed. Not the screenplay, not the film I'd make about Neil Armstrong. But we like your talent, but we're not making Babylon. This is crap. This is a dumpster fire. Can you imagine? That's what we need. Instead, we have people like Netflix, or in this case, Paramount, who was like, your film's so great. We want to work with you, Damien. Make whatever you want. Because that always works out when someone just says, do whatever you want with no guidance. It can work out. But another example, Nolan. If you have Nolan in your fold and he's making a movie, let's use Interstellar because I love Interstellar. I just saw it. I think it's one of his best, if not his best films. What are you doing with the sound, Christopher Nolan? What are you doing, dude? I can't understand the dialogue. We can't have this in theaters the way you have it mixed. I love Hans's score too. I think it's one of the best scores we've had in the past decade plus. But I don't understand what the hell the characters are saying. Whatever you're doing with the audio mix, you got to fix. That's what a studio does. They say, Christopher Nolan, everything's perfect, but you can't do the audio like that. We just can't have it happen. No studios have the balls to do that now. No studios had the ball to tell David Green that you can't do what you did to Halloween Kills. Halloween Ends. Halloween Ends is an atrocity. It is an abomination. And the fact that no one at Universal said, we're not going to make this, or didn't pull Green off of The Exorcist makes me go, are these studio heads, do they have the guts anymore? Can they do what's right? And sometimes doing what's right is not going to be popular, but it's going to be right. Okay? And that we get back to what we talked about with Zach Levi the other day. Maybe Zach really feels that way, right? We don't need to get into it all again. But at least give him credit for having the guts, having the cojones to get out there and say that in Hollywood. That's what we need. We need more people that say things like that. You might not agree with it, but he also didn't say something like racially insensitive, right? He said something about a pharmaceutical company, you guys. And people are dragging him. Oh, he's a terrible person. What a horrible human being. No. Cherish the fact that guy got out there and had the stones to say stuff like that. We need more of that in the world. We need more people standing up and saying, this is wrong. This is how we should do it. We need more of that. And are firmly believing everything they say versus shills. Like our shill of the week coming up soon. Sunday night, shill of the week, our first one. And guess who's our shill of the week? You guys already know. He works for Fandango. I mean, we could have a whole entire hour on the plaudits that this dude just cranks out. That's coming up on Sunday night. James Gunn had the perfect response for the Levi situation. What did he say? Tell me, Alex. I don't even see what it said. What did he say? Did he say he has his own opinions and freedom of speech is good? I hope he did, because that's what he should have said. When people don't have an internal compass, they're told Chazelle he's a genius. They just assume they don't get the movie. Well, no. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? That's the fear that people have. Well, you just don't understand the genius of Babylon. Someone said to me that I see Babylon as a film that is talking about the dark nature of Hollywood and fighting the forces of the machine. And I go, yeah, I get what you're saying, but that's not what Babylon is. It tries to say that, but it doesn't say that. There's a way more powerful film and a way to do that than Babylon, which is tonally a disaster. James Gunn told Patty Jenkins Wonder Woman 3 wasn't good enough. See, that's what we need. We need more James Gunns out there saying this is bad. Wonder Woman 84 was terrible. And if she came with anything that remotely resembled Wonder Woman 84, then it's over, right? I mean, good for him. Good for him. James said that Levi will say things we agree with and things we don't agree with. Can't have everybody. Thank you. That's exactly what we need. Who cares? Do you work for Pfizer? No is the answer. Then why do you care so much about what he said? It's a pharmaceutical company. Stop. Why are you so tribal? Why would you ever be tribal about a pharmaceutical company? That's insanity. I mean, I don't care what you think of vaccines. To be tribal about a vaccine maker, a pharmaceutical company? What is wrong with you? Stop being so tribal. I hate tribal people. I can't stand tribal people. They are, because you know why? They are unthinking. They're hive mind. They're boring. They wouldn't ever stand on their own and have an opinion that would possibly rile people up. They want to fall in line and be part of the crowd and say what's right and be what's PC and wave, the whatever flag's being waved. Got to be part of that. Got to virtue signal. Do not virtue signal. It's pathetic. Don't virtue signal. Only say things you believe in and you really believe in. It's nauseating when you read someone say things they're supposed to say. Like, the thing that you're supposed to say about Zach Levi is he's terrible. Zach Levi's, that's not, but that's, you don't even know what you're talking about. You don't know. You don't know if he's right. You don't. Do you work for Pfizer? I can't believe we have these conversations. It makes me insane. If you're one of those people, I don't want to know you. If you're someone who's tribal, if you're hive mind, I have no interest in you at all. Because you know why? You're not interesting. So James Gunn, kudos to that. If that's what he said, that's what we need. We need more of that. More people that are like that. And don't give a shit, and they'll say whatever it is. Thank you very much, Wasim. There are only a few people out there that will actually say what it is. Because it's called being objective. It's called not being tribal. It is called not having a dog in the fight. Looking at everything and saying, is this good or bad based on its merits? Merits only. We will never walk into a film and say it's good because it's directed by a woman. Ever. For the rest of time, we will never go into a film and say it's good because it's directed by X. Gender, race, what it doesn't matter. Knock at the Cabin is a strong film. Not because it's directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Not because he's a man. Not because it's by Universal. It's because the film's good. Anyone who says, even mentions, it's good. I remember reading that review of that action film with Charlize Theron, the one that was on Netflix. I never saw it. Directed by a woman. In the review, someone went out of their way to say, the movie's good because it's directed by a woman. I'm like, it's over. It's over for you. Everything going forward is done because that is never true. It'll never be true. Nothing is ever good because of the gender of the person who produced it. Nothing. It is good because it's quality. That is all there is to say. After Sun is a brilliant film because it is, not because Charlotte Wells happens to be a woman. If you think that way, your brain's broken. Your brain is busted. I feel sorry for you. I don't know what to tell you. Someone indoctrinated you or made you into something that's not even a real human being. The movie After Sun is great because it is an emotional knockout of a film. The fact that Charlotte Wells is a woman, inconsequential. The film is brilliant. Don't ever say that. Don't ever say that around me. I swear to God, I'll fly. Yeah, I'll go even more nuclear than I just did. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. Did any female film? Wait, Eric, did any female film you for being a creep at the gym? No, because listen, let me be here. You want me to be straight up with you guys? When I go to the gym, shit, I'm going to come off like some egotistical. Listen, you guys know I'm in decent shape. Women, might check me out. I don't freak out about that. I don't go, oh my God, that woman's ogling me. Okay? Because, first of all, isn't that a compliment if someone is appreciating what you do, what you look like, what you're working out? When I'm going to the gym for my health, and I'm not going to lie to you guys, to look good, to have the soccer, football kits fit well. That's why I'm going. So if someone notices that, I'm not going to say, oh, stop staring at me. You're objectifying me. It's just, oh my God. This world drives me crazy. It really does. Amazing how 3 years ago, the same people trying to attack Levi would have been cheering him on for being against the pharmaceutical companies. That is 100% true. because pharmaceutical companies before were bad, right? They got people hooked on drugs, on prescription drugs that were not necessarily great for them. But now we hold them sacred. Like, oh, all hail at the altar of Pfizer or Moderna. What? What? No, I'm not going to do that. Okay? We don't bow at the altar of anybody. I mean, obviously, the Almighty God, whoever you believe in. I do believe there's a spiritual power up there, whoever you believe in, that's your choice. But no, we're not going to bow to a company. Are you kidding me? Come on. It's sad. All right, 5-minute warning. 5 minutes and we're out of here on a Tuesday. And we're probably back Sunday. Thursday, maybe we'll come back for a little reaction, but I think we did a really good job tonight with Knock at the Cabin 80 for Brady. It's all there for you. Everything you need to know about these films, both of them I'm recommending, are in the stream. If you missed the beginning, go back and watch. Everything's there. I liked both. In a weird way, I actually enjoyed 80 for Brady. Not enjoyed, but didn't hate myself. Women Pursue Erick. Not like David. I mean, listen. Here's the weird thing. I don't want to be in a relationship, okay? I have no interest. Like, I mean, none. It's very strange. I was married. If you guys didn't know, I was married for 15-ish years. Shit, that's crazy, the fact that I'm even saying that. But I don't have any interest because I like doing my own thing. If you guys can't tell by watching MMT, I do my own shit. That's how I run my life. I don't want anybody telling me I have to do X, Y, or Z. I'm like, no, I don't need to do any of that stuff. So, you know, it is what it is. But the reality is that LA is absolutely a city where if you're not confident in how you present, you are going to very likely feel a little bit. You're not going to feel as at ease as you would in a city like where I grew up in Columbus or Charlotte, North Carolina, where I lived for a while, Orlando even. LA is a looks heavy town. That said, you know, it is what it is. I don't go to the gym. That's the only reason, but I'm also not going to shy away from it and say, oh, you know what? I'm not in shape. I don't like to go to the gym. I mean, listen, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it because we haven't done one in a while. We'll do a quick physique critique and then we're over. So listen. So here's the point. Let me pull it up, and I'm only going to do this one time. I'm not going to do it over and over tonight. I promise you that. It's only going to be one time. You do not have to sit through this over and over. This is me at the gym the other day. Now, the caption was, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you, and you know who, Jonathan Majors, who, by the way, is absolutely a beast. But here's the reason that we post things like this. I need everyone to understand this. The reason that I have that on, I'm posting stuff, is because that is motivation. Because I am busting my ass. And if you can take a second of that and use that in your life to do something for you. If you go tomorrow and just do something small and build. This is the process of a long time. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I've been working out for a very long time. That said, you can do it, okay? You can make this happen. The way that you make this happen is every day you show up. I don't care what you do. You show up at whatever it is that you do, whatever you love. If it's not the gym, whatever it is you do, your job, go there and show up and keep showing up. And that's every day is a little deposit. And that, all this is, the mullet is absolutely gone. I'm not going to lie to you. It's gone. I had to. I just couldn't deal with it anymore. So I cut it off. But it's all about life is showing up and being, obviously going and being everything you can in the moment and then letting it go. I think that's the other half, is that, you know, for going to the gym, movies, whatever it is I do in my life, you do it, then you get out of it and you kind of like forget about it. You turn off the switch so that you can regenerate for that next time. If you're constantly doing something and only doing that, you're going to burn out. So it's best to, for me, whatever it is you're doing, do it and then get out, get it, and really focus and really put your all into it. That's the takeaway. I mean, 100%. Columbus 8 is That's probably right. A Columbus, Ohio 8 is an LA 4. Yeah, I mean to hang out here, you're literally working out next to like Jonathan Majors. I mean, working out next to Taron Egerton. You better be bringing something. If you had money, would you have a full gym at home? No, I would not. Great question, Patrick. And we're almost done here. Hang with me. We're almost there. Let's power through, baby. Yes, I would go to the gym because part of the motivation for me, and everyone's different, is going and being in the energy of other people doing the same thing. So you're in the middle of it and you draw on the energy of others and put that inside, and then you use that and direct it outward towards the workout. So for me, that's how it works for me. Now, that said, during COVID, I used to ride my bike to the park and work out on the jungle gym because the gyms are closed. So I know how to do both, but I prefer to be put in the middle of the situation because I firmly believe that if you get put into a situation where you have no other choice, fight or flight, you are going to fight. Okay? I mean, you could flight, you could run out. But for me, I'm going to fight because you're there and you have no choice. So I think that's the importance of that for me, 100%. Going to the movie instead of a home theater. Great draw there, Patrick. Same thing. It is, you're going to, for me, when I'm at the movie, I'm invested. I'm 100% in. When I'm at the gym, I'm 100% in. And if you put me at home, if I was working out here, first of all, my workout wouldn't be as tough. If I was watching the movie at home, I would be on my phone. I don't care how good it is. During Knock at the Cabin, I would have grabbed my phone, checked my Twitter, checked my messages. Something would have gone off. I would have said, let me check this out. That is distraction. Movie theaters, we need to keep holy. We need to keep going. And I leave you with this tonight. We need to make Netflix bring their films to theatrical. That is going to be my new focus. The only thing I want to focus on here is making this happen through grassroots. We can do this. There is power in a few that will spread like wildfire because there's a lot of fans of film out there that are not happy with Netflix. And what's going to happen is if we get this going, this is going to snowball. And what's going to happen is the directors are going to have to bring it up with Netflix because they're going to get any director, Del Toro especially. In fact, I actually want to have a conversation with Del Toro. I'd love to. How do you go around saying you love cinema? You know, animation is film this, film that, and then you have your film on a streaming service. He's going to say because they were the only ones to give us money. Well, like I said before, if I had a film at Sundance and Netflix said we're going to pay you 10 and Neon said we're going to pay you 3, I would take Neon because I've told you guys I'm not in this for making tons of money. I'm in it for passion. I'm in it for art. And that's what I'm involved in. That's what I like. So for me, if I had a project, I would rather sign with a Neon because I'm going to feel better at night knowing my film's in a theater. And until Netflix figures that out, we need to hold them to the fire. And we can do it. And that's going to be our thing. I'm going to pick one of these hashtags. Hit me on Twitter if you didn't hit me here tonight. I will use it and we will spread it tomorrow. We are going to bring Netflix to their knees and we're going to make them put their films in movie theaters at AMC, at Regal, at whatever chain you go to. You're going to find the killer. By the time it comes out, we're going to make Netflix commit to theatrical. Whether Stuber wants to, whether Reed Hastings wants to, they're going to have to do it because we're going to make them do it. We are going to march to sunset and we are going to make them do it. That is our next step. We are going to organize a march in Los Angeles with signs saying, we got to come up with a catchy slogan. You guys have to help. I'm going to think about it, but you help. And we're going to march to Netflix and say, you are going to put your films in theaters. We're going to make you do it. It's going to happen. MMT, done for the night. Thanks for being here, guys. As always, an absolute pleasure that you choose to spend your time with Midnight Movie Talk. As always, appreciate it. We're back here for sure on Sunday. Maybe before then, check the community tab. I'll put something in there if we're going to do it. But thanks for being here. If you missed any of the stream, go back to the beginning. Knock at the Cabin, 80 for Brady, James Gunn, DC, and on tonight. Really great stream. Really appreciate everyone being here. As always, thank you. Midnight Movie Talk is out live from Los Angeles. Erick Weber, good night. And one more drink of salsa. Okay, I didn't hit the button.